Despite the New York Jets and their record being 2-4, sitting third in the AFC East, the Pittsburgh Steelers have a daunting task this Sunday in prime time to come out of that game and emerge with a 5-2 record. Also, Chris Boswell is on pace to set and possibly shatter an NFL record that's been standing for over a decade. Welcome back to Mic Drop Sports, everybody. I'm Jason. Let's dive in here on a Wednesday. I appreciate you for coming through. Like, share, and subscribe. All of the content here to continue to help us grow our community of thousands of fans. I appreciate it so very much. Let's talk about the New York Jets and a little bit about Chris Boswell. Those two things here this morning are of utmost importance. Let's start with Boswell. Boswell has made 16 of 17 field goals this season. He has hit several from 50 yards plus. He has been absolutely clutch and at times has carried the Pittsburgh Steelers in terms of scoring points. Chris Boswell right now again has 16 made field goals and is attempting to chase down a record set by David Akers in 2011. That record is 44 field goals made in one season, and Chris Boswell currently could shatter that record. If Chris just say perhaps averages 3 field goals from here until the end of the season, he could end up with roughly 49 field goals made, shattering that record made by David Akers. And is that something that you're really pumped up about? I mean, it's good for Chris Boswell. It's super awesome for him. He has been clutch. He has been an all-time great Steeler with his leg. He has bailed the Steelers out in many, many instances. We've seen him win entire playoff games by himself off of his toe, scoring all the points for the Pittsburgh Steelers in matchups. And Chris Boswell has just been an absolute key player for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he will continue to be that throughout this season. Regardless if he chases down that record made by David Akers, regardless of that, Chris Boswell will be of utmost importance throughout the remainder of this season. And Chris Boswell, again, hitting bombs from 50 plus on a consistent basis. You can't ask for anything more from the Boz. And I'm always singing it. Here comes Santa Buzz. Here comes Santa Buzz. Yeah, I always sing that. I don't know why. It just sounds catchy to me. But when he comes in, he's going to deliver the presents, baby. And he's going to make sure that he hammers it through and put the Steelers on the scoreboard every single time he steps out there. Again, we'll see what happens with Chris Boswell. Is that a record that you would be super pumped up to see him get? Yeah, I would be, just because it's the Boz, and I'd be happy for him and happy for Danny Smith and his special teams unit. However, though, I want to see the Pittsburgh Steelers put up some points in conjunction with that, conjunction with him chasing down that record of 44 field goals made in an NFL season by David Akers when he played for the 49ers in 2011. Let's dive into the Jets, guys. We can celebrate Boswell hopefully here at the end of the season. When he's slam dunked yet another record in the NFL. You know what's crazy before I move on? You know what's really, really crazy about Chris Boswell? I believe he's only a one-time Pro Bowler. It just popped into my head. I can only remember one time that he has made a Pro Bowl. So perhaps that is the case. Maybe I'm accurate with that. I don't know. But I can only remember one Pro Bowl made by Chris Boswell. Isn't that a crazy thing? Knowing how accurate and how clutch he has been for the Pittsburgh Steelers, at times being the best kicker in the AFC, hands down, even in a conference with the great Justin Tucker, whom in the last couple seasons hasn't been what Chris Boswell is. So yeah, we'll see. But again, Chris Boswell, only one Pro Bowl? Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, guys. But I believe Chris Boswell has only made one NFL Pro Bowl. All right, guys, let's dive into the Jets and what they are bringing to the table. Again, a team sitting third in the AFC East right now with a 2-4 record, just acquiring Devontae Adams. However, they've had a couple targets that Aaron Rodgers has loved. Aaron Rodgers, 1,387 yards passing, averaging about 231 yards a game, 9 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. So a weird season for Aaron Rodgers so far. At times the Jets look super good. At times they look really bad, firing their head coach. Now the defensive coordinator steps in to do both defense and managing the team as an intern head coach. Or an interim head coach. So we'll look at this Jets team a little bit skewed right now with the way that they've had their performances, because I still think this is going to be a difficult task. Aaron Rodgers can still put up numbers on the scoreboard. So this is going to be a tough task for the Pittsburgh Steelers defensively. Aaron Rodgers, yes, 5 interceptions so far in this young season. And hopefully the Steelers can take advantage of that and turn some of those balls over from Aaron Rodgers and create some points off of those with their offense, or perhaps maybe even a defensive score that has been waiting to just burst out for this defense here in 2024. Let's go over some of their players that have been really key players for them offensively, especially. That's where we'll dive in today, their offense, and then we'll move toward defense later in the week for the Jets. But you look at offense, you look at Hall, 83 carries for 310 yards on 2 touchdowns for him this season in 2024. A guy that gets hot and cold. He hasn't been lights out, but hasn't been bad either. He has been able to keep a steady presence in that run game for the Jets. So a guy you got to respect if you're the Steelers on defense. Cam Hayward, TJ Watt, the defensive front as a whole really has to come out and really have a good game. Those linebackers have to be able to come downhill and really be productive for those Steelers on defense also. Let's move over to the passing game. Again, I told you Aaron Rodgers with 1,387 yards passing and 9 touchdowns right now. 2 of those targets really that he's thrown to have really been the major producers for him. That is Wilson and Lazard. Wilson and Lazard have been the key targets for Aaron Rodgers. And Lazard has more touchdowns than the whole Pittsburgh Steelers team on offense combined. The whole wide receiving core and tight end room have not even reached the 5 touchdowns that Lazard has this season. So if you're looking at the Steelers, what they have in terms of touchdowns and receiving, you have Pat Freiermuth with 2, Calvin Austin with 1, Darnell Washington with 1, and Connor Hayward with 1. That is 5 touchdowns. So the whole Steelers team has as many touchdowns, as Lazard has on the season. So one player for the New York Jets has as many touchdowns as the entire Pittsburgh Steelers team receiving. And you look at Wilson, he has 3. That's more. He has more touchdowns than any one Pittsburgh Steeler right now as it sits. And that's 1 target for the New York Jets. And he hasn't even been the absolute main target. Yes, he has he has been the main target. 41 catches for 399 yards. Lazard has 26 catches for 354 yards, and you have Hall out of the backfield with 26 catches for 204 yards with a touchdown for the Jets. Again, 9 touchdowns on the season for Aaron Rodgers in terms of throwing the football. So you look at this Jets offense as a whole as it sits pre-Davante Adams, and they have been able to score some points. They have been able to be more productive than the Pittsburgh Steelers on offense this season through 6 games. And it makes you wonder here, are the Steelers going to be able to handle that with a lot of injuries on defense? A lot of key injuries. Perhaps they get back a Alex Highsmith. Perhaps the Steelers are starting to be able to this week get pressure again with minimal numbers, being able to force the hand of Aaron Rodgers. The Steelers throughout the years have typically played Rodgers pretty well. One time, Mike Tomlin losing that Super Bowl to Aaron Rodgers. But the last couple home games that Aaron Rodgers has played at Acrisure Stadium, the Steelers have had his number, and they've been able to overcome Aaron Rodgers and his high-powered passing attack that he typically has wherever he may be. The Jets on offense, I think, are going to be a difficult task. Now that you add Davante Adams into the equation, that's going to give Aaron Rodgers yet another target. One positive thing is going to be that Davante is just going to be getting with the Jets. He is not going to be super comfortable yet in their system. However, you're looking at Aaron Rodgers being his quarterback. So you know that system that he played with Aaron in Green Bay is going to be pretty damn similar. So Devontae should be able to get on this moving train, as Mike Tomlin likes to call it, and quickly be productive. We'll just see how quickly he can be productive, and hopefully it's not an immediate thing this Sunday in primetime against the Steelers on defense. What I think the Steelers really need to watch here is that tight end in Wilson. They need to really watch Hall out of the backfield, not just running the ball, but receiving the ball also, because he can be a dual threat. And when you add Davante Adams to that mix, that is going to require a lot of attention from the Pittsburgh Steelers, coupled with Lazard. Lazard can make some big plays and has proven so with 5 touchdowns this year. So if you're the Steelers, you're going to be spread thin covering these top targets that the Jets have right now, which could open up a lot for Hall out of the backfield in terms of receiving, in terms of running the football. So getting to the quarterback with minimal numbers this week is going to be of utmost importance for the Pittsburgh Steelers, so they are able to cover the massive amounts of targets that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to face with this Jets offense. And when you have a tight end like Wilson, you are going to really have to pay close attention to him. And the Steelers historically over the last few seasons haven't been able to handle tight end play at a high level, and that's very concerning. The running back and the tight end are very concerning for me this week against the Jets, and I think Aaron Rodgers will recognize those things and understand that the Steelers will be paying tons of attention to Davante Adams and Lazard, and that is going to open up that underneath game, that middle of the field game for Aaron Rodgers to pick apart this Steelers defense. Hopefully not. Hopefully the Steelers, again, will be able to get there with minimal numbers, get that push that they need in order to make Aaron Rodgers uncomfortable, force him into mistakes. And that has to be your only real philosophy. You know that Aaron Rodgers is going to score some points. You know he's going to get his, but you have to reduce the damage, man. You have to keep the damage at a minimum. You have to hold the Jets to under 24 points in order, I believe, to win this ball game. And again, we'll talk more about that defense of the Jets and what the Steelers need to do offensively in order to score points. But guys, we are sitting here on a Wednesday with a lot of uncertainty in this Pittsburgh Steelers building. A lot of things in terms of injuries that have been going on. A lot of things now that have been drummed up with this quarterback controversy that's been put into the building by the head coach, Mike Tomlin. And this is going to be a very rocky week, in a week in which the Steelers are going to have to come out and bring their A game, man. And is it going to be possible with the amount of issues that are inside of that building right now on the south side of Pittsburgh? Is it going to be possible? Is this defense going to be able to have a performance like it did Sunday against the Raiders? Are they going to be able to come out hot and stay hot throughout the football game? That's the question. Are they going to go out there and lay an egg in the first couple drives and get the Steelers behind early? That's going to be a problem, I think. I don't know if the Steelers are going to be able to offensively overcome an early deficit. I'm not sure if they are going to be able to handle that and be able to bring the Steelers back if they can't keep pace. Because the Steelers haven't been starting hot on offense, and that could be a significant issue here for this team, especially with what is sitting in front of them right now. And you're looking at heading into these games here to where you have both New York teams. You got to take a New York sweep here. And then you're going to head into that bye week and hopefully be a lot more healthy. But then you're going to be coming into the meat and potatoes of your season, playing tons of divisional games, playing the Kansas City Chiefs, playing the Philadelphia Eagles. And this is going to be a true war from here on out, guys, even when you're playing these New York teams. From right now, week 7 till the final buzzer, till the final bell in week 18, you are going to literally have a war that you are going to see having to be waged by the Pittsburgh Steelers. And they are going to have to show you that they can handle the pressure, that they can handle going to war and digging deep each and every week to catch that W, man. And it starts this week with the New York Jets, and it starts defensively for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike Tomlin puts a lot of stock into that defense. Mike Tomlin relies a great deal on that Pittsburgh Steelers defense. And if you are the Jets, you know that. And you know getting 20, 25 points this game could potentially get you out of Acrisure Stadium with a W. Now, what do the Pittsburgh Steelers do on offense? Will Russell Wilson be the starter? I'm pretty much guaranteeing that he will be, my friends. And can he take enough pressure off of the defense by scoring points, by leading the offense to be far more productive than what it has been so far this season? And yes, 32 points last week against the Raiders. But you look at some of the numbers that I gave you at the beginning. This whole Steelers team has as many touchdowns as one receiver for the New York Jets, and that is a very troubling statistic. So let's just hope that Russell Wilson comes out here this Sunday and lights the world on fire and proves why he has won a Super Bowl in this league and proves why he has been an NFL all-time great quarterback, man. I'm not saying, instant Hall of Famer, but probably pretty damn sure he will be a Hall of Fame guy. So we'll see what happens with Russell Wilson, and we'll see what happens with this quarterback situation. But don't bet any money that you will see Justin Fields Sunday, because Mike Tomlin is hell-bent on creating a quarterback controversy and creating a little bit of division in this locker room. Right or wrong, it is what it is, and the Pittsburgh Steelers and Steelers Nation are just going to have to ride with it. All right, guys, thank you for joining me here today on the show. We went over this Pittsburgh Steelers defense a little bit. We've went over the offense of the New York Jets and where their big-time numbers come from in terms of production, also who they've added this week and what that means for this Steelers defense in terms of how they are going to have to cover that. We'll dive into a little bit more of the X's and O's here on our Friday show. That's when we always really dive into X's and O's. So we'll break that down a little bit further, and we'll continue to watch the Chris Boswell saga unfold. And does he chase that 44 field goal record set by David Akers in 2011? And Chris Boswell, can he go down into the history books yet again for your Pittsburgh Steelers? All right, guys, I'm Jason. This is Mike Drop Sports. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe here on the channel, with the channel, to help promote our community, again, of thousands of fans. We are almost to 4,000 subscribers, guys. Let's get there. And again, I'm so thankful and appreciative of what you guys have been doing these last few nights on the live show. You've been coming out and showing out. We've almost reached that 1,000 views goal that we had a couple times. So let's try to get those 1,000 views again back up and can keep those concurrent viewers going throughout the show. And again, I appreciate all the super chats. You guys have been absolutely amazing, man. So thank you so very much. So until tonight, for Steel City Live, I'm Jason. This is Mike Drop Sports. Peace, my friends.